Today, the Alabama Department of Health holding a news conference to give the latest on the coronavirus in our state. Good evening, I'm Connor Board.
And I'm Mike Black. With new testing options and emergency plans, health officials say they're getting ready for potential cases here in Alabama. Our Sydney Stallworth breaks it all down for us. Sydney?
So far, we have no confirmed cases of coronavirus here in Alabama, but health officials are saying it could just be a matter of time. The Department of Public Health is prepping for potential outbreaks, especially in schools.
And we have no confirmed cases in schools in Alabama.
Alabama has no confirmed COVID-19 cases, but that doesn't mean we're in the clear.
We do have plans, but until a particular case comes to us, we don't know how strong a response we're going to have.
And some of those plans are rooted in the school system, starting with suspending travel overseas.
We've encouraged them to cancel trips that are going overseas over the next several weeks.
Schools won't cancel activities or suspend classes without contacting the Alabama Department of Public Health. There have been around 20 coronavirus tests conducted by the department so far. All have been negative. The ADPH is also monitoring at-risk citizens, more than 100 travelers who may have been exposed. Most are thought not to be infected. Health officials are urging parents and teachers to encourage good habits to prevent the spread of illness.
Just remember good cough etiquette, good hand hygiene, washing and avoiding touching your face, covering your cough and sneeze.
The virus might be tougher to spot in children.
What we've seen is that in the younger populations, they sometimes just have the sniffles, the cold, and they go about their business.
Parents are urged to keep any sick students at home during this time to protect other students, staff, and faculty, but one group could be at a higher risk.
This is really affecting the elderly. And the younger population is got a lower mortality rate right now. So that's favorable for our children, but it's not for a vulnerable population.
The Department of Health is launching a webcast starting this Friday. It'll be open to the public and have tips and the latest on coronavirus here in Alabama. Putting the Valley first, Sydney Stallworth, WZDX News.